Hi, I'm Chris Caswell, and this is the first of my harp lessons for online. And let's start with just a little bit about how to be with the harp physically, how you can use your body most comfortably, and that will translate into a more relaxed and controlled style of playing. I want to start with just sitting reasonably upright, with a nice straight spine, and I don't want to contort my shoulders in any way around the harp. So I want to bring the harp to me. If I put my hands together in like a praying position like this, and my hands go from my right shoulder to my left knee, that's generally speaking where we want the strings to lie. We want the harp to be at a comfortable height where when I just raise my arms like this, that's where my top strings are going to be. And within a few inches of that is fine. Better slightly lower than too high, because if too high you're going to be reaching back like this, and that creates tension you don't need in your body. So let's begin with how the hands work. It's a fairly natural hand, and by the way, my style is an inclusive one. That is, I try to include that which works and that which supports my musical goals as well as being physically healthy for me. And I don't want to just throw out an idea because it isn't part of a curriculum which someone else has presented to me. At the same time, I do want to support other people's efforts in recreating what the harp can do. The folk harp died out pretty much entirely, except for a few pockets here and there. And we're, over the last several decades, been trying to recover that. And for traditional harp, that is non-orchestral classical harp playing, this might involve some new tools and some new elements which aren't generally used in pedal harp playing. This isn't a question of right or wrong, but merely what is effective for the musical style that we're trying to reproduce. And again, bringing it back to what is good for my body. What can I do that'll relax my hands, my fingers, and keep my relationship to the harp direct and simple. So let's start with that. The hand is just the hand at rest. The fingers, if you make a fist lightly, kind of want to fold up in that direction from the pinky to the thumb. I'm not trying to do anything that's angular. I don't want anything that's hard on the hands. Just gentle, relaxed, using my whole hand. Then I bring that around and I point it with the palm facing kind of diagonally down. If the palm were a lens, that lens is pointing out beyond my opposite knee. And then I'm going to bring my fingers and my thumbs onto the corners of the pads. And the corners then, by nature, will be pointing my fingers somewhat down and my thumb somewhat up. Again, I can avoid anything that's really extreme, just for the sake of comfort to begin with. When I start plucking the strings, I'm going to start plucking from these long knuckles. These are really strong, and we can use these all day without getting tired. Very little of what I'm doing comes from these outer knuckles here. The thumb, the equivalent there, is coming over with the base of the thumb. So I'm always pushing from here with my thumb. I'm not using the crook of the thumb. Though you might see some follow through and some movement out there, the real motivation for what we're doing is here at the base of the fingers and thumb. Now find a red string. The red strings are C's. All the strings painted red are C's. On this harp, here we are, that's middle C. And then I'm going to put my fingers 4, which is my ring finger, 3, long finger, 2, index finger, thumb, 4, 3, 2, 1, right in a row on the notes C, D, E, F. And we encounter the other colored string on F. All the blue strings are Fs. And now I can play from C up to F, a little half scale. And I'm just going to allow my fingers to kind of squeeze the string, and then I'm going to pull as if through the string, like the string were just butter. I'm just going to pull right through into the palm. And the next one, and the next, and the thumb. Let me do that again. And what I'm really doing is I'm making a little box as my fingers close, and the thumb then closes the lid of that box. So let's watch again. And then I relax. Just take a moment to relax. And that's also an opportunity to register, is my body straight? Am I crooking my neck around? Am I breathing? All these things that kind of the tension builds up, we don't even notice in the middle of a lesson or a practice session, especially at the beginning. So now let's try it with the other hand. Left hand, let's play lower. The harp, by the way, is also tilted kind of diagonally like that string band I imagined before, where the hands go to the left knee and the right shoulder. Somewhat in that direction, the harp is angled diagonal. That allows my left hand to reach the lower notes with a lot more freedom. So I'll do it with both hands so you can see what it looks like from both sides. And then I relax. The next thing I'd have you do to start with is take that hand where the fingers have kind of fallen into the palm like that long fingered plucking. We're going to end up with the hands looking like this. And the degree to which they're in this posture is more preferred than the degree to which we do this, which is the claw. So we want to avoid the claw because it's very tense on the muscles. Do it for yourself for a second. You'll see that it's really quite uncomfortable. So you do that, but what you want to do is this. So you end up with this harper's hand, this harper's fist. Now we're going to bring that index finger, number 2, out from the harper's fist, and we're going to put it on whatever string we want. And it's okay, by the way, to kind of rest lightly on the side of the harp, but don't anchor yourself on the harp, and don't lean heavily into it. Some harps have a fairly sharp edge. This one does. And that's not good for you. Not good for the wrist, for the tendons. And we can rest a bit, just it tends to help our orientation. But what I'm going to show you next is how to move around on the harp and play the note that you want to play in your ear. How to translate that to what string you're playing on the harp. And that association of what you hear and where to go to play it is what we want to develop with this exercise, which seems very simple, but has a profound benefits over the long run. I'm going to bring my hand hovering like a hummingbird over the string I want to play, and then the index finger, like the beak of that hummingbird, is going to squeeze the string and then pull through it into the palm. And that body language I want to now move all over the harp. The reason I don't want to anchor on the side of the instrument is I don't want to be reaching my hand to play a note, because then I'm changing the whole angle of my wrist to my arm. I want to develop this, where I just float over the strings like a hummingbird looking at a new flower. Or another way to think of it is like a little train which is going to different stations, and each string is a station on its line, and you have to move like this far to go to that note and this far to go to that note. You're moving your whole palm to go to the note you want. Once I'm there, the finger does all the work. But the hand then has to get me to the next place. And then relax every so often. What you can do with this now is start picking out tunes, simple tunes, nursery rhymes, Christmas carols, something that you know well, and that again is very simple. The only trick on this will sometimes be, where does the tune start? So for example, I could just pick out this. And at first, don't worry about speed. You just want to take your time, find the notes. Later on, you can worry about the rhythm, make that nice and settled. And of its own course, it will move along with your own level of comfort and assurance on the instrument, the speed will come up. Don't worry about speed. That's not the objective. The objective in everything we're doing is a relaxed control. So go off, have some fun, play these little half scales, and pick out a bunch of tunes. Don't ever forget to play for fun. Practice is important, but fun is why we do it, because fun is the spirit that leads you to that deeper relationship of the instrument and supports your passion.